There's a point about an hour and 20 minutes in this movie when Armie Hammer's character says, "But before you go, I need to explain everything to you." And I'm pretty sure he isn't dragging that out with Keith Stanfield's character. I'm pretty sure that's for us, the audience, because that's how it felt when I was watching it. I'm John Hayeck, and welcome to my movie thoughts. Sorry to bother you. So this movie centers on Keith Stanfield's character, Cassius Green. He's a guy that gets hired at a telemarketing company. He basically calls people, tries to sell them stuff, and then he kind of rises through the ranks of the telemarketing company and finds there's some shady stuff going on once you get to the corporate levels of it and everything. And that's all I'll say without giving away spoilers in this movie. That's kind of all I can say in general, because this movie has a lot going on that you can't really describe coherently without seeing the movie, but I don't know if I recommend you guys should run out and see this movie per se. Here's my experience with this movie. I heard out of Sundance, it got great reviews, and a lot of people were saying it's one of the most weird, bizarre movies they've ever seen and everything, but it was super impactful. I'm like, alright, cool, I can't wait to see this thing. I actually could have seen this movie 2 months ago, but it was playing the night I flew home from school, so I didn't wind up being able to. I saw the first trailer for it a week ago, and now I'm here seeing it now, so I had very little exposure going into the movie, other than knowing it was about this telemarketer played by Keith Stanfield, who I knew from Get Out fame. He played the guy that got kidnapped in the first scene of Get Out. I liked him as an actor. He really had a lot to do in Get Out. That really showed he was kind of versatile, but we also didn't get a huge sample size of him, so now him having his own movie, I was pretty excited. We've got a pretty solid cast otherwise, too. We've got Danny Glover, as I already mentioned, Armie Hammer's in a few scenes. Tessa Thompson plays Keith Stanfield's girlfriend in the movie, and I thought that all of them did a pretty serviceable job. I like seeing all of them interact with each other. I thought it was a pretty good ensemble. Glenn from The Walking Dead is in it, too. After I saw him in the first scene he was in, I'm like, who is this guy? And then I noticed his mustache and goatee in the next scene. I'm like, oh, Glenn, yeah, it's prickly and everything. So overall, the actors did fine. They worked with what they had as best they could, but I think the main issue with this movie is that it's just incoherent nonsense. I feel like a lot of people will give credit to movies for kind of throwing a lot at the wall and trying to see what sticks and trying to craft these important social messages and everything that contemplate what our society is and where it's going and stuff. But this is one of the movies that I see that does that not really all that well, because what happens in this movie is you have kind of a fight the man type of message, and you have Tessa Thompson's character always reminding Keith Stanfield's character that he needs to kind of do what's morally right, not what the corporations want him to do, and not what makes him the most money or anything. And I feel like that was a good message from the movie, but I feel like it's trying to be accomplished in so many different ways. Keith Stanfield works at a telemarketing company, and that's one plot. But then there's also this weird bar scene where the characters go and everything, and they talk about kind of the environment around them in Oakland, California. It's this kind of different future of where things are imagined differently and how that society plays into what they're doing. And then the girlfriend character played by Tessa Thompson has her own kind of subplot going on with this art gallery she's trying to open. There's this other company that Armie Hammer runs that might play into it too, and I feel like there's so many things that are trying to accomplish this message in different ways that they all kind of just conflict and deflate each other. I didn't feel like the movie was trying to have each of these things lead up to one giant message that we were supposed to take away from the movie. I feel like they were mini messages that kind of conflict with each other, might have added to each other in some ways, but ultimately just didn't have enough connective tissue and didn't have enough substance to really make them feel impactful. So I walked away from this movie thinking yeah, I don't know if I really understood what I was supposed to in this movie. I don't think that it really did a good job telling me what it stood for. Because there are movies like Mother and Hereditary which have really weird, confusing endings, but for me, when I go home and I research them, and I'm like, yeah, and then this connects to that, and that connects to that, and then, oh, that's really clever. I'm like, oh, that was neat, and the setup is there. For this movie, the first hour of setup, I'm like, this is just, again, it's nonsense. It feels like they're just trying to do so much and be so pretentious and have all this crazy, insane imagery that it just doesn't work. I felt like it was just trying so hard to be artsy that it just failed in that way. And by the end, I do think that the third act gets pretty good. I think that when you get to Armie Hammer's character at the very third act, I thought that was interesting stuff. And I feel like if we dug a little bit more into that over the first two acts of the movie, then this movie actually would have been pretty serviceable. But it was kind of too little too late once we got to that point. But the Armie Hammer stuff towards the end, you guys will see what I mean when you get there. It's nuts. But I feel like the first two acts were just trying so hard to throw so much at you that was so pretentious and so artsy, and just trying to say, hey, we have a social message, understand our social message, please grasp this, and please understand we're trying to do something good with this movie, please understand what message we're trying to send and everything. And I feel like it was trying to do that, but it was trying to do so much of that again, it just undermined itself. And I know critics have been loving Sorry to Bother You, but I don't recommend you guys see it at all. I think that, again, it gets so heavy-handed and just tries to throw so much at you that you just walk away having not captured any of it. At least I did. But guys, those are just my thoughts on Sorry to Bother You. I think I'm in the vast minority of not really liking this movie. Be sure to know your thoughts on it in the comment section down below. You guys can go over to mymoviethoughts.com, follow me on Twitter at JohnHayeck, and subscribe to this YouTube channel if you want tons more posts from me. Links to all through those in the description down below. You guys can also like this video, comment on it, share it with some friends. I am John Hayeck, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching.